What it do, homies? It's your boy Dave, and I'm back today. We back here with some George Carlin, my second time reacting to one of his stand-ups. This time we're looking at rights and privilege. Now, George Carlin the type of dude to get super political in his messages. So while I may agree with some of the things that he's gonna be saying, I'm gonna try not to get too political because that ain't what this channel is about. Well, if this channel isn't what it's about, then why are you reacting to George Carlin? Anyways, let's shut up and turn it up.
Another one of these civic customs. Swearing on the Bible. You understand that shit? They tell you to raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible. Does this stuff really matter? Which hand? Does God really give a fuck about details like this? Suppose you put your right hand on the Bible, you raise your left hand. Would that count? Or would God say, sorry, wrong hand, try again? And why does one hand have to be raised? What is the magic in this gesture? This seems like some sort of a primitive voodoo mojo shtick. Why not put your left hand on the Bible, let your right hand hang down by your side? It's more natural. Or put it in your pocket. Remember what your mother used to say? Don't put your hands in your pockets. Does she know something we don't know? Is this hand shit really important? Well, let's get back to the Bible, America's favorite national theatrical prop.
Ooh.
Suppose the Bible they hand you to swear on is upside down, or backward, or both, and you swear to tell the truth on an upside down backward Bible. Would that count? Suppose the Bible they hand you is an old Bible and half the pages are missing. Suppose all they have is a Chinese Bible in an American court, or a Braille Bible and you're not blind. Suppose they hand you an upside-down, backward Chinese Braille Bible with half the pages missing.
You know, man, something I learned about George Carlin, man, he just starts poking fun at some of the stuff that you would never think of. And you start thinking about it, and you're like, huh, why do we do that? But he's raising up some very valid points, right? Does it matter specifically what type of Bible it is?
At what point does all of this stuff just break down and become just a lot of stupid shit that somebody made up? They fucking made it up, folks. It's make-believe. It's make-believe. Now, all right. Okay. Let's leave the Bible aside. We'll get back to the science fiction reading later. The more important question is, what is the big deal about swearing to God in the first place? Why does swearing to God mean you're going to tell the truth? Wouldn't affect me. If they said to me, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God, I'd say, yeah.
Sure.
I'll tell you about as much truth as the people who wrote that fucking Bible. How do you like that? Huh?
Shots fired. You know, one thing I've also started to learn about George Carlin is that he just don't care. Now, during the time where he was telling his stand-up, right, I believe the world was, if it wasn't already sensitive, it's definitely gotten a lot more sensitive, right? And some people today, they go back and read this, especially like the easily offended people. They couldn't take George Carlin. Dave Chappelle did something back in his day that wouldn't fly today. I think we need to go back to that, right? Because I feel like comedy has been like pretty much butchered by how many people get offended over things when it was meant for comedy. You know what I mean? So I am liking this. It's like a return back to the era of comedy that I grew up in.
Swearing on the Bible doesn't mean anything. It's kid. Swearing to God is kid stuff. Did you remember when you were a kid? If you told another kid something he didn't quite believe, he'd say, "You swear to God?" I would always say, "Yeah, I swear to God," even if I was lying. Why not? What's going to happen if I lie? Nothing. Nothing happens if you lie, unless you get caught, and that's a whole different story. Sometimes a kid would think he was being slick with me, and he'd say, "You swear on your mother's grave?" I'd say, "Yeah. Why not? First of all, my mother was alive. She didn't even have a grave. Second of all, even if she was dead, what's she gonna do? Rise from the grave and come and haunt me? Come and haunt me? All because I told a lie to an 8-year-old? Get fucking real, will you?" Sometimes I would say, "I swear on my mother's tits." Kids are impressed with things like that. I mean, I don't care about my mother's tits either. I don't care if they fell off. Fuck her.
Well, damn.
Not my problem. They're your tits, Ma. You keep an eye on them. Swearing to God doesn't mean anything. Swearing on the Bible doesn't mean anything. You know why? Because Bible or no Bible, God or no God, if it suits their purposes, people are going to lie in court. The police do it all the time. All the time. Yes, they do.
And where's the lie, right?
It's part of their job to protect, to serve, and to commit perjury whenever it supports the state's case. Swearing on the Bible is just one more way of controlling people and keeping them in line, and it's one more thing that holds us back as a species. Here's one more item for you, the last in our civics book. Rights. Boy, everyone in this country is always running around yammering about their fucking rights. I have a right, you have no right, we have a right, they don't have a right. Folks, I hate to spoil your fun, but there's no such thing as rights, okay? They're imaginary. We made them up, like the boogeyman. The Three Little Pigs, Pinocchio, Mother Goose, shit like that. Rights are an idea. They're just imaginary. They're a cute idea. Cute. But that's all. Cute and fictional. But if you think you do have rights, let me ask you this. Where do they come from? People say, well, they come from God. They're God-given rights. Oh, fuck. Here we go again. Here we go again. The God excuse. The last refuge of a man with no answers and no argument. It came from God. Anything we can't describe must have come from God. Personally, folks, I believe that if your rights came from God, He would have given you the right to some food every day, and He would have given you the right to a roof over your head. God would have been looking out for you. God would have been looking out for you. You know that? He would have been worried about making sure you have a gun so you get drunk on Sunday night and kill your girlfriend's parents. But let's say it's true. Let's say God gave us these rights. Why would He give us a certain number of rights? The Bill of Rights in this country has 10 stipulations, okay? 10 rights. And apparently God was doing sloppy work that week because we've had to amend the Bill of Rights an additional 17 times. So God forgot a couple of things like rights. Slavery. Just fucking slipped his mind. But let's say God gave us the original 10. He gave the British 13. The British Bill of Rights has 13 stipulations. The Germans have 29. The Belgians have 25. The Swedish have only 6. And some people in the world have no rights at all. What kind of a fucking goddamn God-given deal is that? No rights at all? Why would God give different people in different countries different numbers of different rights? Boredom? Amusement? Bad arithmetic? Do we find out at long last, after all this time, that God is weak in math skills? Doesn't sound like divine planning to me. Sounds more like human planning. Sounds more like one group trying to control another group. In other words, business as usual in America.
You know one thing I'm liking about George, right? So he's definitely a logical thinker, right? It's definitely the one that's like, you know, if 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, right? But I like the way that he tells things. Like, he's not just going out flat out slandering, right? I mean, everybody has their beliefs. Everybody's entitled to believe what they want to believe, right? Whether God is real or God is not. But I like how he explains his logical sense of thinking, right? That's what I like. But this definitely is not, I mean, you guys watching this, man, if this is your first time seeing, which I imagine it's not like it's mine, man, I can just imagine so many people getting triggered by what he is saying right now. Now, I am an optimist thinker. I take things from all sides and I bring them in together and form my own conclusions, okay? Now, I am a Christian. I'm not like the best Christian or everything. So I do believe that there is a God, but I am able to watch this anyways and appreciate it for what it is because I understand where he's coming from. Everyone's got different beliefs, and he's telling it from a comedic stance, even if it's something that he believes, and it's something that I can relate to, right? Because we've all thought about these things that he's talking about all the time throughout our entire life. So what I do for the most part is I just set aside, you know, what my beliefs are, and just take what I'm listening to as face value and kind of lower, you know, just get ready to laugh. And I think if people could control that, if people can just stop imposing their their beliefs and everything on everybody else, they can sit back and they can relax and just enjoy comedy or enjoy other things as it comes. Just take it for what it is and don't let it completely ruin your life. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm able to sit here and watch these things, even though I am a Christian, even though I do believe that there is a God. So, but I like his storytelling. I like his logical conclusions, the way he's coming to it, and I'm a hard person to offend anyway. So.
Group trying to control another group. In other words, business as usual in America. Now, if you think you do have rights, one last assignment for you. Next time you're at the computer, get on the internet, go to Wikipedia. When you get to Wikipedia, in the search field for Wikipedia, I want you to type in Japanese Americans 1942, and you'll find out all about your precious fucking rights, okay? All right. You know about it. You know about it. Yeah. In 1942, there were 110,000 Japanese American citizens in good standing, law-abiding people who were thrown into internment camps simply because their parents were born in the wrong country. That's all they did wrong. They had no right to a lawyer, no right to a fair trial, no right to a jury of their peers, no right to due process of any kind. The only right they had, right this way, into the internment camps. Just when these American citizens needed their rights the most, their government took them away. And rights aren't rights if someone can take them away. They're privileges. That's all we've ever had in this country is a bill of temporary privileges. And if you read the news even badly, you know that every year the list gets shorter and shorter and shorter. You see how sooner or later?
He's speaking some facts out here, though.
Yeah. Sooner or later, the people in this country are going to realize the government does not give a fuck about them. Government doesn't care about you or your children or your rights or your welfare or your safety. It simply doesn't give a fuck about you. It's interested in its own power. That's the only thing, keeping it and expanding it wherever possible. Personally, when it comes to rights, I think one of two things is true. I think either we have unlimited rights or we have no rights at all. Personally, I lean toward unlimited rights. I feel, for instance, I have the right to do anything I please. But if I do something you don't like, I think you have the right to kill me. So where are you going to find a fairer fucking deal than that? So the next time some asshole says, gee, I have a right to my opinion, you say, oh yeah? Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion. Then shoot the fuck and walk away. Thank you.
Well, that was a mic drop. So, some of the stuff that he's talking about, man, he out here spitting straight facts and everything as far as like rights and privileges. That was very interesting what he said. He was like, if it was a right, then they don't have any right to take it away from you if it's a right, right? The privilege is something that you're allowed to do. Or maybe not allowed to do. Privilege. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this, but I understood what he was talking about. So, when I'm listening to George Carlin, right, it almost sounds like more of a slightly funny lecture, you know what I mean, than it is like a bunch of BS that he's talking about and stuff like that. I'm sitting here thinking about the epic rap battles that I looked at, and Richard Pryor, they had a line in there that said, I'm delivering jokes that's rupturing the tummies. You tell a joke and people go, that's funny. You know what I mean? I think because there's definitely a difference between like white people telling comedy and black people telling comedy, right? And this might be because I might be a little biased, right? But I definitely do laugh a little bit more when I'm listening to black people's comedies. Maybe it's because they talk about more stuff that I can relate to than I do with white people. I think the only person who is white that's made me like absolutely crack up was, let me think, cause just flat out laughing. I don't know, guys. I mean, I've watched a lot of comedians. I'm sitting here thinking about whoever I like absolutely cracked up at. Because my all-time favorite comedian is Bernie Mac. I absolutely love Bernie Mac and his personality and everything. Maybe it's just the tone, the way he talks and everything. But I can definitely get down with George Carlin. If I want to go to like if I go to the comedy show, I'm gonna be learning. I'm gonna be learning something because he's definitely open about everything, and his stance on his rights and his privileges. I like the fact that he doesn't go up and he does this comedian just based off what other people else, based off society, right? I don't think social justice warriors existed as much during this time, although they did exist, they probably weren't as powerful as they are now. So he was able to just talk about everything he needed. But he did it to such an extreme that I bet even back then people were just like, but he stuck to his guns, right? He stuck to his guns and he remained truthful throughout his comedy. I think that's what led to his success as a comedian, right? Him and Joan Rivers, right? They were just flat out truthful, just unadulterated, just bam, right in your face. And sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you just need the hard truth. You don't need it candy coated. All right, y'all. That's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and subscribe. Dave's out.